Welcome everyone to a conversation with our Commissioner, Gloria Nevarez. My name is Drew Jones and I'll be your host this afternoon. Gloria, how are you doing?
As good as anyone at this time, I guess. Thanks for asking, Drew.
Yeah, no problem. I wanted to catch up with you and ask you a couple questions. I know there's been a lot going on, not only within our conference, but nationally. So just to kick it off with the NCAA canceling the March Madness tournament and then later canceling all spring sports, what were the days leading up to and the days following the decision to cancel WCC sports like?
It was certainly surreal. You were there with us at the tournament, and I've never been involved in a crisis that changed so quickly, minute by minute. But the day we made the decision to cancel spring sports, we were actually at our tournament, and thankful we were getting through all of our games because our tournament was a week prior to pretty much everybody else in the country. But we went from being one of the first conferences thinking about canceling at 9 a.m. that morning to one of the last to actually announce at 3 p.m. that afternoon. So it certainly was a very serious, very quick moving crisis.
Right, and now everybody has to stay at home, shelter in place. And so with that said, how has the conference office navigated through everything?
Yeah, so the last weeks, months now have been really dominated by trying to actively, regularly communicate with all of our member institutions, specifically our presidents and our athletic directors and other administrators. We've had outreach to all of our coaches, but really focused on ensuring that we're checking in, ensuring that we're providing everyone with all the answers that we can, and all the information where we don't have the answers.
And, with the absence of collegiate competition, how do you feel your role as commissioner has changed?
It's become a little bit more urgent, oddly, even though we're all sheltering and not playing sports. The focus of the day has been about how do we come back from this? Because we're all waiting for federal, state agencies to make determinations about when we can gather again. And we want to make sure we're ready to go, that we've done all the thinking and modeling prior to whenever this sheltering lifts so that we can get out there and start competing whenever that time comes.
What have your conversations with your 10 institutions been like?
It's gone through phases. In the early days when we were thinking about canceling sports and championships, it was how, whether, um, and really to keep participants and fans, spectators safe. Now that we are actively canceled our spring sports, it's how do we come back? What does that mean for eligibility? What does that mean for financial aid? All those seniors that are now eligible for another um, season of competition.
On that note, looking ahead to the fall, what is the latest discussion on the outlook for our fall sports, men's, women's soccer, volleyball, cross country, etc.?
Again, these are decisions that are outside of our control. And that's the frustrating thing about it. And, we have to do everything possible for the safety of humankind, first and foremost. So these decisions are going to be made by our local and state agencies. The good news in our conference footprint, Oregon, Washington, and California have agreed to move together in getting government operations back up and running. So I think that will help waterfall into all three of our Western states being able to gather around the same time, which is a very fortunate position relative to some other leagues that cross over 4, 5, 6 states that may have different levels of coming back together and starting business. So, and we do know Utah with BYU has fewer cases than we have on the coast. So I do think we're fortunate in that we should be able to come back pretty consistently as a league.
And now we're all working from home these days, in the midst of waiting for sports to come back. But business continues. So what has been the highest priority to accomplish as of late?
As a league, we depend heavily on revenue from our basketball season, our basketball tournament, and participation in the NCAA basketball championship. So our number one priority is ensuring that we can continue to deliver all of our conference operations. that impact our student athletes at a high level, but still trying to prioritize, save costs, and generate revenue in order to keep those operations going.
So a little bit more positively, I know that spring sports were canceled, a lot of them mid-season. Looking back at the year, what were some of the moments in the WCC athletic year as a whole that you will remember?
You know, the 1920 academic year, it's so bittersweet to think about the accomplishments of that year because it was cut short. We were having such an amazing season. I mean, you know, in fall cross country, BYU men won the national title. The women came in second. We roll into basketball season, and Gonzaga women had the highest national ranking in program history ever. Gonzaga men were ranked number one for quite some time. We roll into our basketball tournament, and Portland women from the bottom of the league have an upset of Gonzaga semifinals and go on to win the title, looking at one of their first NCAA bids in quite some time. And then the exciting semi and champ game on the men's side, we were very, very confident that St. Mary's, BYU, and Gonzaga were all not even just in the NCAA basketball tournament, but in the top half of the bracket. And then, you know, our spring seasons had barely gotten started, but in baseball and softball, we saw in non-conference play, each had a no-hitter, both out of San Diego. Pepperdine's men's golf was ranked number one coming into the start of conference play. And then Ashley Leahy, Pepperdine women's tennis, was also number one ranked player. So I just, such a heartbreaking end to, but so many great moments during the 1920.
Shifting to you, how have you personally been spending your time when you're not working from home? What are you personally doing to staying healthy and well?
Oddly, the days are pretty similar. Every lot of the same meetings, a lot of the same conversations, national meetings, just all on video conference. So I am getting a little bit more technically savvy on that, learning how to play with virtual backgrounds. But really, there's still a bit of the crisis management going on as we discussed about how are we going to come back in the fall. So, you know, just trying to continue to exercise and keep some mental clarity to continue to deal with all the madness.
Do you have a favorite workout?
You know, it's mountain bike season, so we've been exploring some new trails.
Nice. Well, if you have anything else to add, those were all my questions.
I think we, you know, at the WCC are really, I've just been so positively impacted by the strong support that we have from our schools and our presidents. Everyone is making very conscious decisions with student athlete welfare first and foremost, and trying to get back to work. I'm just so amazed at all the stories about the first responders and the people out there who don't have the luxury of working from home, battling this on a day-by-day basis. And you know, we understand sports is really important to us, but right now there are some really big things going on, and I'm proud to be part of a league that's engaging and helping solve those problems globally.
Thank you, Gloria. It was really good catching up with you.
Thanks, Drew.